Tankless water heaters, they are a great device. It's a fantastic upgrade. They're efficient, they save room, and it's a great addition to the home as long as they are wired correctly. The problem that we find on a lot of home inspections is the tank water's been upgraded to a tankless, and they use the existing circuit that went to the tank water heater to supply power to the tankless. The tankless water heaters have two elements, just like the tank water heater does, but the traditional tank water heater only energizes one element at a time. It cycles on and off from the top to the bottom element, where a tankless water heater energizes both elements at the same time. So this requires an additional circuit to be ran to the tankless water heater. So another set of wires has to be ran in order to protect the tankless water heater. A lot of times homeowners will upgrade their tank water heater to a tankless, and they do not run a separate circuit. They use the existing circuits, and this is pretty dangerous. So one thing that happens is the tank water heater runs off a 30 amp breaker. When they connect that wire to the tankless, the 30 amp breaker trips because it's requiring two separate circuits. It's drawing too many amps and it trips the breaker. So I've seen it where homeowners will just add a 50 amp breaker. That can be dangerous. The wires are not designed to carry that load, and a separate circuit needs to be provided and an additional breaker needs to be installed. So the tankless water heater runs two elements at the same time, and an additional circuit needs to be installed to accommodate that. The existing wires from a tank water heater may not be large enough for the tankless, so you might have to run two new circuits. So always check the manufacturer's installation manual to find out what the specs are for that unit and what it requires. So typically you're going to need a separate breaker, so you need two dedicated breakers, meaning they only supply power to the water heater, nothing else. Two separate wires, conductors, going to the unit. Make sure the breakers are sized correctly and make sure the wires are sized correctly. These tankless units are on demand, so they draw a lot of energy all at once and they do not store hot water. So they take cold water, instantly make it hot, which requires an additional load. So the power going to the tankless unit needs to be able to accommodate that additional load. Another factor is the electrical panel itself. Will it accommodate the additional breakers needed? Not only just is there space in the panel, but is there a 60 amp panel or a 100 amp panel, and you're adding much more than that panel capacity is able to accommodate. We find these on inspections all the time where a tankless water heater upgrade was installed, they use the existing circuit, and it's just not working. It's a dangerous thing to do. This A.O. Smith tankless water heater is one that we recently found on inspection where they use one circuit to run to this tankless water heater. Now, the manufacturer specs for this unit says that it requires two separate 30 amp breakers and 10 gauge wire to be supplied to this unit. This can be found on the manufacturer's website. So just type in the model number of the unit, find out what the specs are for the unit, and make sure that it's installed correctly using the correct wiring, breakers, equipment, everything that's needed. Or just have a contractor install it. A licensed electrician or a licensed plumber can install these correctly. That would be my recommendation. So if you're thinking about upgrading to a tankless water heater, it's a fantastic upgrade. Just make sure it's safe and installed correctly. Let me know if you have any questions. Shoot a comment. I'd love to hear from you about this. Let me know your thoughts.